for the Cubby Bear for hosting us today. And we're here to see Coheed and Cambria. All right? Please welcome Mr. Claudio Sanchez from Coheed.
Right on. Hi. Thanks, Brian.
How have you been, my friend?
I've been good. Yeah, I'm just hanging out, doing what I do, I guess.
When you know you're coming to Chicago, what comes to mind? Is it a favorite show, favorite place, both?
Well, it is. Actually, one of my favorite shows of all time was here at the Metro many years ago. But yeah, I have a fond memory of that. That is definitely one of the top 3 shows of the band's career. When we come to Chicago, the first thing I think about are the music stores that I'm going to visit. I like to collect gear.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be Chicago Music Exchange, or there's this rock and roll vintage spot a little north from here that's pretty cool, has a bunch of old stuff. And so yeah, I'll do that. That's what I do.
And you're welcomed back here, because these people are here to see you, some for hours.
Right on.
Hours.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, congratulations on the new album.
Oh, thank you.
Father of Make Believe, which is part 3 in this series. Tell me about the solo trip you took overseas to write a few of these songs.
Oh, right. So my wife proposed this idea to do a writing retreat. You know, she was finishing a novel, so her thing was she was going to go to Italy. And I created this concept like in 1998 when I went to Paris, this idea of like being in a band that's going to have a science fiction like counterpart, whatever. So I thought, every once in a while I'll go back to Paris. So I thought, well, if you're going to do that, I'll go there. And so I was there for about 10 days. I mean, we spent a few days together until she split for Italy. But while I was there, I wrote a couple of songs for the record, the 2 of them being Blindside Sunny and Mary of Mercy. And they're both extremely different.
Sonically different, I was going to say.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I feel like part of me thinks that, I wrote Blindside because it was really, this is like the first time I had been alone in a long time. She was away. My son was back home with grandparents in the States, and I didn't have like the Coheed and Cambria entourage. So I just kind of got lost in my thoughts and really what this record was about. And so it kind of tormented me to a point where Blindside became the output. But then the other side of it was, while I was there, I was thinking about my grandfather who had passed away, and so I wrote this song about him reuniting with my grandmother that he lived like 35 years, 40 years of his life without. So,
wow.
So yeah, that's what I guess just because I was alone, I wanted companionship. I wanted to be with my wife again,
Right.
So I guess that's where Mary of Mercy kind of came from.
But being removed, it seems like, got you in that space.
Oh,
to really
yeah.
paint those pictures.
Absolutely. And, most of the time when I'm writing in my house in Brooklyn. So it's nice to every once in a while get away from the comfort zone and explore a different side of yourself.
Even the song Someone Who Can on the album started as something that you thought of as just for you, like a solo project.
Yep.
How did that get onto the Coheed album?
So I had 30 songs for this record. And so I submitted...
That's 30.
So I had an idea of what the track listing was going to be. But my partner, Zach Cervini, who I trust so much, after our run with Window of the Waking Mind, I ended up sending him all of the sessions. I said, hey, this is the idea of what the experience is in my mind, but if there are any songs that feel like egregious omissions, by all means, like, let me know and maybe we can work on them. And that one, there's a whole nother version of that song where it's just myself with an acoustic, a piano, and a box drum. And I just recorded it as like, I almost wanted to do like this Americana kind of weird, it was like, and I was like, oh, maybe it'll just be a project that I'll put out, And But, I wanted to round out. 30 songs sounds better than 29, right? So I was like, so I just threw it in the session folder. And I was like, and he picked that one. He was like, this one is great. We should kind of give this the energy, maybe like the same energy we gave A Disappearing Act on the last record. So I said, yeah, why not?
Yeah. It all works well. The album is fantastic. It really is.
Thank you, Brian. That's really nice of you.
So after this tour cycle, you're playing tonight here at the Cubby Bear. Then you're going on tour with Mastodon, and then Taking Back Sunday. Mm-hmm. And then, tell me, I don't know too much about the cruise series that you have been doing every other year.
Yes. So yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the cruise series.
Well, the cruise is something, initially when it was presented to me, I did not want to do it. I was the one guy in the band that was very apprehensive. And, but, I didn't want to be that guy. So I said, why not? Let's go. My wife was pushing me to do it. And I had so much fun. And I realized, I'm like, right on.
Yeah.
Like,
Anyone been on the cruise before? This guy. Mm-hmm. You look like a guy who would be on the cruise. I mean that in the best way.
Oh, right on. But I do comic conventions for the books and things like that, and so I quickly saw like the similarity, right? Only this was like the Coheed culture, like all things Coheed, and so I just found that I really enjoyed it more so than I had thought I would. Clearly,
because somebody attending it, they're committing to it. So they're there.
Oh, yeah.
They want to be there.
Yeah.
They're there. Like these people, they want to be here. Am I right? Yeah. So once this tour cycle is over, and you guys have been at it almost 30 years.
Yeah, we're coming to 30 soon. Yeah.
30 is more than 29. We learned a couple
of
minutes ago. Just hypothetically, if there are no like logistical boundaries, like is there something on your list you want to check off, either like something creatively or like a place you would play remotely? Is there one thing, just hypothetically?
I mean, hypothetically, I want to do so many. I clearly want to do an adaptation of the story to some degree, whether it's like animation or a feature. I've also had this like desire to write a musical, which I have written pieces of, but yeah, those are things I would really like to do.
Okay. Would you need to go back to Paris to write some of these?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I was asked to do a musical at one point. It was a musical rendition of A Picture of Dorian Gray.
Yeah.
And so I actually wrote the first act. I have it. It's been, years. But, nothing ever happened with it, but I still have the material. And then part of me thinks, like, there's a story in Father of Make-Believe that I think, and it's not the conceptual one that goes with the Coheed Amory Wars arc. There's a personal story in there that I feel like could live on that stage.
Okay.
So we'll see.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot there. Well, we're totally stoked that you're playing here in the Cubby Bear, this room here in Chicago, for free. These people got in for free, so thank you for being here. And thank you to Mr. Claudio Sanchez of Coheed and Cambria.
Thank you
for being here.